So I had a plan this morning. Get up, load up my bike, drive up to Glacier, and then ride up to Artist Point and back. I've never done that ride. I don't know. I think it's around like 40, 50 miles or something. About an hour of climbing. So I got up, looked at the news. It was raining up there. I'm not driving 2.5 hours to ride my bike in the rain. I can do that in Seattle. So I sat around, didn't know what to do. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to grab my camera stuff and go. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm going to photograph. I'm currently on Highway 2, almost to Index. I'm just going to keep driving till something catches my eye and see what I can find. I know there's an old house out east of Leavenworth, so maybe I'll make it out there. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm just going to drive. You know, it's a cloudy, overcast day. I didn't feel like riding my bike around the same old Seattle roads. I could have gotten on my gravel bike, throw on the gravel tires and hit the gravel roads, but I didn't like doing that either. So I'm just out trying to find some photos. Like I said, don't know what I'm going to take, but I'll let you know when I do. So the great thing about living in Seattle is that it's usually cloudy. It's kind of dreary. However, all I have to do is drive over the mountains. So I just passed over Stevens Pass, and it's sunny, clouds are breaking up, and it's looking to be a really nice day. So always makes it kind of nice. Know that you can go from 50-degree weather to 75-degree weather all in like a 2-hour drive. You can go hang out in Leavenworth, which is like an old Bavarian style town, and just chill out for the day. Done that several times. So I'm still on the road. Like I said, I don't really know where I'm going, what I'm going to shoot today, but hopefully something will come up. So I just went over Stevens Pass, and now the sun's out. Well, some high clouds starting to break up, looks like. So maybe if I get to that old house east of Leavenworth, it'd be good for black and white, be good for some infrared. Don't know if I'm going to make it that far, but I've got nothing else to do today, so I'll probably make it out there. So anyway, I'm probably not that far from Lake Wenatchee. Maybe I'll pull in there and see if there's anything there to photograph. I know there's some stuff kind of just on the highway in Tumwater Canyon I'll check out, but not to say there's going to be any photo ops because now the sun's pretty high, it's pretty harsh light, but we'll see what we can find. So I did decide to drive all the way out to catch this old house. See it there? It's pretty cool. I did when I showed up. I saw a couple deer wander in. I think they're in there, but I'm not going to go anywhere near it because it is private property and all that. So I'm just staying on the road, trying to find good angles. I'm currently using my infrared camera. It's a Canon SL1. I have my 40 millimeter pancake on there. So what I did is I took a photo of the wheat here. You can see all the wheat with the green, and that I used that photo to set my custom white balance. Sorry, hopefully I wasn't blinding you. And then once I have that set, then I can start taking photos. And that way, when I get it in the Lightroom and Photoshop, all the foliage will be white or whatever color I decide to turn it to. And I can get the sky to be a super dark blue in the false color, or if I go black and white, it'll be like really deep black and really bright white. So I'm just gonna hang out here, just kind of shoot different compositions, get low to the wheat, get high, get sideways, get all kinds of directions, see what I can come up with. Change my lenses, maybe use my telephoto lens. And that's one thing, every lens I use, I have to take another custom white balance shot because all lenses have a slight color cast to them. So I'll do that and I'll just keep shooting. Whenever you're doing landscape photography, there's a lot of people that are just, oh, if it's not the golden hour or the blue hour, it's not worth it. You know, the light's too harsh. That's true in a lot of ways. Like you don't want to shoot waterfalls, you know, water, things like that when it's like harsh light like it is right now. However, things like this scene, where you have the greens, the yellows, the old house, the blue of the sky, yeah, it really works well in the bright light. And it also works really well to convert it to black and white. So I always think in terms of that too, like, oh, it's harsh light, maybe I'll shoot black and white. So, you know, because with the sky, you can get all the blue will be black, the clouds will still be white. You know, your different shades in your grass here, your wheat, can be different shades of gray or, you know, whatever you want. So just think in terms of that. Don't always be focused on, oh, it's not blue hour, it's not golden hour, I'm not going to bother. And also, it's great for scouting. You know, I've never been out here. I don't know anything about this area. So it looks a lot like the Palouse, but it's not the Palouse. So I'm just going to keep driving around for a while, see what I can find. Maybe I'll find another old house or an old barn or something. See what I can come up with. So I found this old house, this cool old windmill you can see behind me. So I stopped, I drove to this other dirt road, came up here. And I was shooting the house and I looked at the windmill and I saw these purple flowers kind of in front of the windmill. So I did is I grabbed my Rokinon 14mm lens and I'm able to get really close to the windmill, get the entire thing in, get the flowers in. So I'm focus stacking, so I focus on the flowers, move my focus, take another shot. And I'm also bracketing my exposures. So along with the focus, I also take a 3 bracketed exposure. The reason I'm doing that is because there's the white clouds with the sun and they get kind of blown out. So I'm just kind of making sure I have all the data there. So when I get back into Photoshop, everything's good to go. I can start blending my exposures and get everything properly exposed. So I think I'm about done here. The little bugs are kind of bothering me. I'm gonna just kind of keep wandering. It looks like there's probably the main highway is right out there where that truck's driving by. So maybe I'll just keep rolling that way, see what's out there. Otherwise, maybe what time is it? It's 20 after or 20 to 1 in the afternoon. I'm just gonna slowly work my way back to Seattle. It took me about 3.5 hours to get out here. So, otherwise it's been a good day. Found stuff I've never seen before, photographed new stuff. So I'm gonna come out here again. All right, back from the field, and here is one of my photos. So you can see 1/320th of a second, f8, ISO 400. This is all handheld, 24mm. I didn't need to do 3/20th of a second, but the wind was blowing a little bit, so this grass was kind of swaying around, so I wanted a really fast shutter speed. That's why I bumped up the ISO to 400 to get the faster shutter speed. So let's go ahead and do a quick edit. And like I said out in the field, don't be afraid to shoot in the middle of the day, because you want to think in terms of black and white, sepia, you know, something in terms of that. So let's go ahead and bump up the exposure. Okay, I'll bring down the highlights, bring up the shadows a little bit, and let's bring down the exposure a little bit more. That was a little too bright. Let's see, bring up the white point. So if you hit Option, when you click on the little slider, as you slide it, you can see as you start to get, like, all those pixels are blown out now. So something like that. And you can also look up here on your histogram. As you slide this, see how the little arrow lights up? Then you know that you're starting to get blown out highlights. Same thing with black point. As you drag it down, anything that starts to show up like this is there's no more data in the shadows. So we'll bring that up just a little bit, so you can see like that's just a black point. Anything in here is black, so it just doesn't really matter on that end of it. Next thing, let's scroll down and do the remove chromatic aberration, enable profile correction, and let's scroll down here to Tamron 24/70. You can see how it just makes it brighter and blows out the highlights. So let's go ahead and bring the whites back down, something like that. We can actually, let's just zero out the exposure, because I like the dark sky. And then we can just do a graduated filter, drag it up, something like this. We want some of the house in there. Then we'll actually bring it up to bring up the We bring that up a little higher. Then if we can actually mask this, just do a luminance, range mask. If you show luminance mask, as if you drag down this side, you can see how the sky starts to turn white. It means the effect is not happening there. Just something like that. Now if we turn that off, you can see again if we toggle this on and off, you can see that the sky doesn't really light up, but the grass and the houses do. And then we can actually, let's bring up the saturation on that a little bit. Let's add some texture so we can really kind of show a little bit of clarity. Not too much. So I'll call that done. Let's scroll in here, and actually you can see if you use this calibration, let's see, what do we have here? What's version 4? Nothing. Alright, so we'll just leave version 5 current. You drag the blue primary up, you see the greens and the yellows start to come out, and then you can drag this down towards the turquoise side and it turns more orange, more fall color. Turn it up and everything kind of turns green. So let's drag it down just a little bit. And then let's see if we do the green primary, drag that up. See, it starts turning a little bit red as well. And then you can drag this up towards the green side and it'll start to turn a little more red. Drag it down the yellow side. Yeah, that's a little bit too much. Actually just drag it to about there. So from there, I think that looks pretty good. What we want to do now is there's all these presets over here from Lightroom. And if you just mouse over them, it'll actually just turn the photo to what the preset looks like. So you just kind of scroll down. You know, some of these are pretty bad. Like when I did infrared, I'd rather just use my infrared camera for that. Selenium. Selenium's pretty cool, kind of a blue tint. And sepia, and then just kind of this is like a mix between the selenium and the sepia. But I really like the sepia for this style of photo. Just this old house, the old tree, the grass and the sky, it just fits it really well. So let's go ahead, start off with this. I want to brighten up the house. We'll do a radial filter. You just kind of drag it around. It's about there. You can move it around a little bit. Let's drag it up just a little bit. And then if you click on the, where is it? Oh, down here. Show selected mask overlay. That's what's supposed to be changed. And you can see as you drag the feather, it gets more of an edge as you're going up towards the edge of the filter. So if you drag that back out, you know, it depends on what you're looking for, because we want to get a good look on the whole house. So let's just turn that off. Then we'll go ahead and bring up the exposure till the house looks kind of how we want it. So something about there. But you can see it really brightened up around it as well. So let's go ahead and do the range mask, do the luminance. If we turn this on again, and it's just like that, the other filter we have, we drag this side down, you can see it takes the effect away from the sky. It's exactly what we're looking for, and part of the roof, which works out pretty well. So now if we turn that off, you can see if we just toggle this filter on and off, see it's pretty much right where we want it. And then let's actually make another one, new, and let's do this little barn. Here's something kind of like this. Center it, bring the exposure up to about there. Range mask, luminance. Let's show that so you can see what we're doing here. I'll drag it down, make sure it's not in the sky at all. Call that good. Okay, I think we're done with those. Then let's go ahead, do another brush. We want the exposure down. Let's add some texture here. And then let's make the brush fairly big. And we'll just kind of make these areas that are already dark just a little bit darker. Just kind of enhance them a little bit. If we make the brush really small, not quite that small, it'll brush in right back here. Maybe a little bit over here. A little bit right there. Almost like a dodging and burning effect in Photoshop. Then we'll go ahead and make a new one. Only this time we'll bring up the exposure. And make it kind of big. And all this brighter grass, we can just make it a little brighter. It just adds a little more depth to the photo, as you can see. If we make it really small, maybe, there we go. You can just kind of brush in a little bit right here. You just kind of add a little bit there. And we will add a little bit more to this part of the house. So something kind of like that. So now if I turn this on and off, see, it's not a lot, but it's just enough. So it's kind of like that. I'll call that done. Let's go ahead and, oh, then you can also use these sliders here as well. So if you drag this one down, you can see the sky is getting darker. If you drag this one down, some of the green grass, drag the yellows up, they'll get a little brighter. So it's also another way to do it. Something like that. But you can see then they start to blend together though, because there's a lot of yellow. So we'll just put this back to where it was, put this one back. I do like the little bit darker sky, but you do have to watch out, because as you drag like the blue down farther and you zoom in, if you have like a clear sky with no clouds, you can start to get blotchy spots all over it. This one's not too bad just because of the clouds, especially on black and white. It'll show up really bad. Like your clear sky is now suddenly almost looks like this. So just be careful of that. And let's do our sharpening. Bring this radius. I always bring the detail down 0, radius down as small as possible, because then what happens is as you mask it, if you hit Option as you're dragging this, you can see the black is not sharpened and the white is. And now that edge right here is as small as possible. If you have your radius up, that edge becomes fairly big. You can kind of see it. And since we have 400 ISO, we'll bring up the noise reduction, and then we'll always bring up the color to 100. That's just kind of standard for me to do. You don't have to do it, but I do. Let's drag the vignetting down. And as soon as it decides to do its thing, you can see here it's just spinning. Okay, so now we have a big vignette. You can see it's -30. Then what you can do is you can bring the midpoint down, and that'll kind of bring it in even more. And then if you drag the feather up, see, it just opens up a little more, but still has a fairly large vignette. And if that's too much for you, you can always just drag this up a little bit and get rid of some of the effect. But I just really like it, you know, kind of really dark around the edges for this type of photo. Just seems to really fit it. So I think we'll call that one done. Obviously, you know, if you really want to make sure it's good, but I'm not going to print this or anything. At least run it right now, I may later. But yeah, you just kind of zoom in really tight, scroll around, look for any sort of imperfections, little birds that flew in, dust specks, anything like that. So, you know, take your time, really zoom around. I see this one's pretty good. But, you know, once I spend more time on it, I'm sure I'll find something that needs to be deleted. So anyway, thanks for watching. This was my trip out to Eastern Washington, kind of a spontaneous a little trip. Oh, look at that. There's a spot right there. So we can get rid of that. Just click on that. It looks like it's a bird or something. Then that one's gone. Yep, there it goes. I'll call that done. And back out. So like I said, don't be afraid to shoot middle of the day. Everybody's so focused on golden hour, blue hour. Oh, everything looks so much better. And, just think in terms of black and white or sepia or, something. But don't be afraid to do it, or just consider it a scouting mission. Call it good. Get the photos just so you remember what's out there. But, don't be afraid to think outside the box. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Instagram is RandyBot Photography, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.